So hello guys, good day. So I'm going to discuss to you the first handout that I gave you previously. But I will be focusing more on the new topic that I have given to you. We already have some sort of activity assessment for this one, and most of you are able to answer that one. So I think all of you are able to understand this topic. So these are the objectives for this presentation, and these are the topics covered in this presentation. 1-1 is the significance of human communication. 1-2 is communication systems. 1-3 is the types of communication or electronic communication. 1-4 is modulation and multiplexing. So I will not be discussing these parts. It's done. Okay. So here I have stated here that the main barriers of communication are rather language and distance. So language is the protocol agreed by a group of people that is used for communication. So it could be verbal or non-verbal. So distance has been a hindrance to communication because in the previous times, if you are living in a different island or in a different area, if you cannot see the person who are you talking to, then you cannot perform a good communication. So language and distance are barriers. So how to solve these barriers? So early people were able to accomplish some improvement. So we have drum beats. Now if you are able to see some old movies about wars, so they use drum beats, they use horn blast, smoke signals. For example, if the enemies are attacking, so they are going to make some smokes. Then later on we have the waving flags or the semaphores. Then the distance has been answered by using written word or the so-called letters. So mga love letter, so that's a way of communicating with person from another area. Then we also have human runner. We also have sending of messages using horseback, birds, sheep, and so later we have trains. And in the 19th century, when the electricity was discovered, so many applications or new applications were also discovered. So these are the methods of communication: face-to-face, signals, the written words or letter. Then with the invention of electricity, we are able to communicate through telegraph, so kanang mga telegrama, telephone, so I'm sure you're familiar with telephone, radio, so radio here is wireless communication. Then you have television, then you have internet. So these are the milestone in electronic communication. It started with Samuel Morse in 1837 with the invention of telegraph. So this milestone is for communication with the application of electricity. In 1843, we have Alexander Bain invented the facsimile or the fax machine. So I'm sure you're familiar with fax machine, or if not, so a fax machine is just like a telephone, but in addition to sending voices, you can send also images. So kung nakay letter or nakay document, so ipagin mo na sa imong fax machine nga transmitter. Then at the receiver side, make it sure nga nabot sa fax machine. Then that machine will also receive the fax document and print it out. So mo na siyang fax machine. Then in 1876 we have Alexander Bell, pinakasikat, no, the telephone. Then Thomas Edison in 1877 invented the phonograph. So phonograph means sound graph na siya. Kanang masyag mga dagko nga trompa bitaw, kanang mga plaka pa bitaw. Subsayan mga plaka nga player. Then photography by George Eastman in 1879. Then radio waves. So Heinrich Hertz, one of the most famous inventor in field of electronic communication. We have Heinrich Hertz. So I'm sure familiar mo sa term Hertz. In demonstration of wireless communications by radio waves by Guglielmo Marconi. So also Marconi performed the first transatlantic radio contact made. So yung transatlantic radio contact is that he was able to perform a communication from one continent to another continent. So muna na perform ni Guglielmo Marconi. Then 1903 we have John Fleming invented the two-way electrode vacuum tube rectifier. And in 1906 we have Reginald Fissenden. He invented EM. So kanang amplitude modulation, kanang mga AM radio. So kung wala siya ka-invent sa AM, wala na siya AM radio station ta karon. Then tried vacuum tube, we have Lee DeForest. Then Hiram P. Maxim, he founded the American Radio Relay League. So because of this Radio Relay League, nadaghan karon ang mga ham radio. So mga ipanggamit sa mga police, yan siya, radio. So, nag-perform o naggama sa mga standards na kini sila. American Radio Relay League. Then, the invention of television in 1923 by Vladimir Zworykin. So, kung wala ni siya ma-discover, actually, kung imong i-check ang history of television, daghan kaning mga contributing inventor. But, the name Vladimir Zworykin was given the award, no, or for the invention and demonstration of TV. Then, Edwin Armstrong, the invention of FM, so kanang frequency modulation, kanang mga FM station. So, most po na siya nag-discover ng Edwin Armstrong. Then, 1939, you have the United States, the use of two-way radio, the walkie-talkies, kanang gamit sa mga guard. Then, 1948, we have John von Neumann, the first stored program electronic digital computer. Then 1948 we have transistor by Bell Laboratories. Then Jack Kilby in 1958 to 1959 invented the integrated circuits. So kung wala pa ni ma-inventing integrated circuits, dagko unta ni kaya itong mga gadgets karon. But thanks to Jack Kilby, ang dagko nga transistor, capacitor, resistor, iyang gipagamay, then gisod na lang niya og saka chip, no? Gagmay nga circuits na sa mga integrated circuits. And if you are familiar with internet, kung nakabot mo sana sa mga chat-chat, so sikat kini siya si Metcalfe. So Ethernet siya naka-invent sa Ethernet and the first local access networks. Then United States, 1955, we have the GPS or the Global Positioning System. So this is used to track your location anywhere in the world. Then 1997, United States, the first wireless local access networks. And so on. So, karon to 2020, so daghan pa kini siya napuno. So, communication systems. So, these are three major fields of electronics. You have the computers, communication, and control. Now, the computer is the largest field because most of our processes karon requires computer. So, even our classes requires online class which requires computer. Our cell phones has computer, no? Then, communication is the second largest field of electronics. So, dili ka maka-perform sa imong online class kung walay signal. So, signal is part of communication. So, what are the basic components of a communication system? So, we have three. The transmitter, the communication channel, and the receiver. So, in some books, they have five. They added noise and information. So, pwede 3, pwede 5, but for the basic lang is the TCR. We call this one TCR, the transmitter, the channel, and the receiver. So, this is the diagram of a basic communication system. So, it starts with the intelligence or information. So, it could be audio, video, or computer data. Then, that is sent through a transmitter. Then from the transmitter, that is sent to the receiver via a communication channel. So the channel could be a wire, a radio, or a fiber optic cable. So there is a receiver, dire ka ang imuhang tawag ang ipadadaan. So this converts back the information from a subtant niya. The noise is entering here in the medium. So if we have a topic about noise and we are going to focus noise on the medium side. So this is the definition of a transmitter. The example of a transmitter is like in cell sites, no? This transmits signals from one point to another. Then you also have, if you have a laptop, then you want to make a broadcast, so you can use USB connection. Then putangan mo siya antenna, and you can transmit a signal. Then you have a channel. So a channel is the medium by which the electronic signal is sent from one place to another. So we have different types of media. We have electrical conductors, kana mga wire. So it could be a pair of wires, it could be a coaxial cable, or it could be a twisted pair cable. We have optical media, so meaning optical light. So these are the medium that carries light. So we have fiber optic cable or the light pipe. Then you have free space. So free space kanang walay wire. Manang free space. So free space is also known as radio. So also known as wireless. So radio is the broad term applied to any form of wireless communication from one point to another. Then you have different type of media. You have water, earth, and alternating current or AC power lines. So water, manigamit sa mga submarine, no? Sonar. So we have two types of sonar, passive sonar and active sonar. Passive sonar listens for underwater sounds with sensitive hydrophone. So wala na sila gi-transmit, signals lang paminaw. Active sonar, however, transmit a signal, then kung na mo bounce back, meaning na siya na-detect niya something fishy, no? Muna yung active sonar. So active sonar is like a radar, no? Mag-send kag signal, then reflect. Wato ni mga na ma-reflect. So receiver, definition of a receiver. So example of receiver. So we have here a radio, no? So these are radio, FM radio, AM radio. So these are receivers. So anything na makadaot og signal, then ang signal is ma-convert niya into a form na masabtan sa tao, that is a receiver. So summary, we have here the information or source, then the transmitter, the channel, receiver, then the destination is mo ang kisa na minaw sa imong signal. Then the noise is entering the channel. So we have also a transceiver. So a transceiver is a electronic unit that incorporates sending and receiving signals. Example, ano ka ng mga cellphone. So pwede siya makasend, pwede siya makareceive. We have telephones. So we have fax machines. We have handheld CB radios. And we have computer modems. So pwede siya makareceive, pwede maka-transmit. So muna transceiver, transmit, receiver. Then in a communication system, natin mga different parameters to check if maayo ba yung mga communication. So number one, you have attenuation. So signal attenuation or degradation exists in all media of wireless transmission. It is proportional to the square of distance between the transmitter and the receiver. So in layman's term, attenuation is masya og amplification. But kung may kag-amplifier magod, hinay nga signal pakusgon. But in attenuation, ang kusog nga signal iyang pahinayon sa reverse amplification. So mo siya i-attenuate. So kung dako attenuation nimo ang communication, mo na inipasabot nga dili kay maayo ang iyang performance kay kusog ang imong transmitter, gamay ang ma-receive na signal. So there could be some signal lost. So mo na gitanaw sad siya. Tanawon sa dang attenuation. Then you have noise. So noise is defined as the random, undesirable electronic energy that enters the communication system via the communicating medium and interferes with the transmitted message. The general way to minimize noise is to use components that contribute less noise and to lower their temperatures. So muna yung definition sa noise. Don't worry, we have another topic that we are going to focus more on noise. So what are the types of electronic communication? So they are electronic communication are classified according to three types. No? Number one, how they are transmitted. It could be one-way or two-way. So one-way is simplex and two-way is duplex. Then it is they're also classified according to what signals are they using. So it could be an analog signal or digital signal. So simplex. So what is simplex? So simplex method of electronic communication is referred to as simplex.